Yo, what's happening? It's me, CD Rome. Back in effect. This is Watch Your Narrative podcast. Presents Truth by Rome. So it's a little bit different. If you've seen us before, if you've seen this particular episode before, this is a little bit different than the normal podcast that you normally see. The panel of guys that actually talk about sports. I like to call this one a little bit more intimate, a little bit one-on-one time for you to get to know the people that I'm, happen to be interviewing. So once again, this is Watch Your Narrative presents Truth by Rome. Watch Your Narrative podcast, however, does drop every Thursday at 7 a.m. Central. This episode, Truth by Rome, usually will drop on Mondays, 7 o'clock a.m. Central. And of course, you can go follow us on Facebook. You can go follow us on Twitter at Watch Your Narrative. Twitter is Narrative Watch. Go find us there. I love to talk sports, but that's neither here nor there. Let's get to the person that we're going to be interviewing. This particular gentleman is a family, family to me. Married to the family. Great friend, great guy. Great honor to really call this guy a friend. Really good guy. I like to call him the standard. People who know what that is and what that means. He is the standard. We're gonna actually talk about that a little bit more. And to be honest with you, he can be a little bit petty, a little bit petty. So who we have coming in? None other than Mr. J. Petty himself, Mr. J. Petty. Hey man, welcome to the show, man.
Hey, glad to be here, man. Glad to be here.
Yeah, I thought I was about to say we're live. We're live. Yeah. Hey man, what's going on, man? Hey man, listen, thank you for doing the show, man. And I gotta start off with the beer, brother. The beer's looking yeah, man. What you using, man? Tell the people what you got going on with what you using.
As you know, I make my own product, so just a combination of oils and butters. When I don't use my own product, mainly I use jojoba oil. I use that a lot. That's my main two, and grapeseed oil.
Yeah,
Those my two main things I use a lot. Helps with shine and growth.
yeah.
Uh, but for the most part, my facial hair has always grown quick, anyways. But it's
And
I'm
full.
really being able to see how much it actually grown, here in the last few months. So
Yeah, no, and it looks full too. So well, tell the people number one about your product because do you still sell it or
yeah, so here recently, I've just got back into making it. I've had a lot of people that have been inquiring about it, especially since the whole beard growth thing.
yes,
A lot of people have
yeah,
been asking, are you coming back out with the product, Petty's Purist? And I say, yeah. So I just made a batch, small batch, but I'm gonna make I want to, before I really put it back out on the market, I want to make another batch to go alongside it, because when I first dropped it, I mean, I was getting orders left and right. I
yeah,
mean, dozens of orders. So I want to make sure that I have enough, to be able to provide it. And at first I was doing like two sizes. I had a smaller size and a larger size. Now I'm just going with just a larger size now. And I think it'll be better, last a little longer. But overall, I think I've kind of like honed in on the product, but it's good for you, not only your hair. I tell people this because people always knew me for my waves and stuff.
yep,
But it's more than just for hair. It's for your skin, your whole body. Your face. It's not something that will clog your pores.
yeah,
I try to use really light oils, not really heavy oils. Very light on things like coconut oil, which is known to be clog pores, and things like that.
mm,
It's really just a bunch of different oils and butters that I've used and mixed in a certain way, to like I said, just really to help moisturize your skin and hair. But
yeah.
it's a real good natural product. That was my whole reason for creating it. It was hard to find natural products, especially in store, that weren't costing a ton. Even online, you have a lot of people that sell natural products, but they're charging a lot, you know, $40, $50 for small cans, you know,
Exactly.
all
Yeah.
natural products. So I said, well, you know, it was easier to create my own, especially to sell it to my friends and family and stuff. So, you know, I just decided to create my own.
Yeah, yeah, no, no. I know when you first came out with it, I was one of the ones. I was on the site, man. I was steady. So tell the people who don't know, when you do get back to, putting it back on the market, where could we find it? Where could we find it?
So I'm gonna go back to Etsy. That's where I was selling it, and usually everything on there. If you can either sign up as a guest on Etsy, or if you have an account on Etsy, all you have to do is search Petty's Purist, and it'll bring up my page. And it'll have all you do is enter your shipping info and your credit card info and all that stuff, and you can buy it directly from there. I don't know if I'm gonna do multiple cents or not yet. I might just start off with 1 cent, 1 or 2 cents, and then as time goes on, I may add a couple more. But everything will be on Etsy as it was, and like I said, that way I don't have to worry about doing excess shipping and stuff. Etsy usually takes care of all that stuff, and provides labels and all that stuff for me. So it it streamlines everything. So
Mhm,
yeah, I'll
mhm.
go back to Etsy once I really
Yeah.
get back on the market.
So let's make sure that we say that Watch Your Narrative presents Truth by Rome is being sponsored by.
Yeah, we'll send y'all some. We'll send Watch Your Narrative. Watch Your Narrative some stuff. Yeah, for sure.
Oh man. So let's jump into it, man. Like the thing about what we've ventured off into doing is the people know, we have Watching Air the podcast, been doing that since 2019, 3 seasons in. Decided to kind of do this particular to have a little more intimate, to get to know people a little bit more intimately, and people can kind of deep dive into to us as individuals, to as gamers, as you know people,
Right.
husbands, also loving the game of basketball, because at the end of the day, that's how this whole thing started, was from the game of basketball. So we're gonna definitely talk about that. But let's start with your upbringing. So tell me a little bit about, like, your upbringing, how you came up, where you from, and how you came up.
So I was raised or born and raised for the majority of my life, or for half of my life, in Tuscaloosa, Alabama. Roll Tide.
Oh, see, I
Um,
didn't know that.
yep. So I was born in Tuscaloosa, lived there for till I was probably maybe about 7 years old. Moved out west, lived in Vegas for about a year and a half or so. Then we moved back from Vegas. My mom ended up getting a teaching job um, out there in Vegas. Mom was a teacher for a number of years. She's a special education teacher, and we moved out to Vegas for some time. Then we moved back home, but we didn't go back to Tuscaloosa. We ended up moving to Birmingham. So since I was about, I want to say, maybe 10 years old, I've lived in Birmingham. So I call Tuscaloosa is my hometown, but Birmingham is where I, really grew up for the most part. It's where I remember or have made really the most memories in my life, is in Birmingham. So I really consider Birmingham my home.
Mhm.
Like I said, I've lived here since 2005. And I don't really see myself moving too far from Birmingham, especially since I just bought a house here.
Yeah,
But
yeah, yeah.
was raised by my mom, a single mom. Had an older brother that I was raised with as well. We're about 7, 8 years apart. But that, for the most part, that was my childhood.
Yeah.
Just being raised by a single mom. Did have a relationship with my father, but um, was raised by my mom my whole life. But
Mhm.
yeah,
Yeah.
just me and my brother.
Okay, so you guys kind of not necessarily bounced around, but you moved a couple of times. Was there a reason behind that? Was it just work, or was it just because sometimes I hear that, I be thinking military or something like that. What was the reason behind it?
Yeah, I mean, for the most part, it was work. We did move around a lot, especially even when we got back to Birmingham. I've lived in a couple different parts of Birmingham. Birmingham is very big,
Yeah,
and
it is.
a lot of people hear Birmingham and they don't really. I say Birmingham, but it's really a bunch of different small towns. Like if you're from Birmingham, you know the different little cities and towns around. But
Yeah.
if you're not from here, if I told you where I lived and where I grew up, you really wouldn't know what I was talking about.
Mhm.
But for the most part, we would move from place to place. I went to in my life, I went to 4 different elementary schools.
Mm.
I went to 2 different high schools, 2 different middle schools. So I've moved quite a bit, in my lifetime, which
What
is why
what
I hate moving now.
Well, talk about that though. Like, so how was that as a kid, elementary school, like trying to make friends and you're, changing schools? Like, how was that? Like, how was that for you, like as a kid?
That was probably something that was very difficult. One of the reasons why I'm kind of as outgoing as I am now. Um, Growing up, I was very shy, but when you move as much as we
Yeah,
have, you
yeah,
kind of had to find ways to get out of your shell because everywhere you go, you're always the new kid. Especially when you're young. Most people who are at schools, they are friends with people who are in their neighborhoods, or most of the times people that they have known for some time. So for me, it was hard because you're always adjusting to new cultures, especially like when we moved out west, whole different type of environment. Introduced to different type of communities. Living out west versus living down south. We're introduced to the Hispanic community way more. Was around a bunch more Hispanics than living down south. Then when I moved back down south, living on one side of town was predominantly white, and another side of town was predominantly black. That was a huge culture shift as well, trying to adjust to different personalities in that way as well. So it was pretty difficult, trying to adjust to that. But it also, again, it allowed me later in life to um, one, be able to talk to people, be able to create friendships with just about anybody.
yeah.
I've had a variety of friends. Even in high school, my 2 best friends, one was Vietnamese, the other one was a white guy. My two
Mhm.
best friends that I grew up with, and so I've always had diverse friends, but it was difficult. Just bouncing from school to school. But because of it, I have a lot of childhood friends that I still communicate with to this day, because I've lived in so many places.
Yeah, I know for me, I complete different because it was like, I basically went to school at literally with the same people for like probably, until ninth grade, and we end up
Right.
moving into the city, and then I end up changing from county school to city school. But even then, Selma was not as big as Birmingham, so I still knew certain people, mainly from just hooping, like just being around town, just hooping with different ones. So I knew only the ones that was playing ball. But either way, it was I know how hard it was of a transition, but the only thing that really made it easier was that I had a couple family members that went to the school, and I had just some people that I met from playing ball. So like when you transition or went to, like, let's say high school, let's get to high school. So you shifted high schools one time, so it's a little bit different when you're older. When you're younger, like as a kid, man, kids don't meet strangers almost. But when you're become like, middle school, high school, it becomes a little bit different. People come a little bit more clicky. So how was that like when you changed schools then? Was it more difficult from when elementary school, or how was that?
Oh yeah, for sure. It was definitely more difficult. Now, and the huge thing was, I went from a predominantly white school to a predominantly black high school,
Whew. Yep. Yep.
and that was hard because the predominantly white school I went to, I lived in that area probably for 6 or 7 years. So my style of dress was different. My way of talking was different. Like as far as the slang I use,
Yeah.
I've always talked with correct diction and stuff because my mom was a teacher. So
Yeah.
that was always the case. But when I moved to this new school, of course, people pay attention to how you talk.
Yeah.
And of course, I'm new, so they ask you, what school you coming from? And
Mm,
if anybody's from Birmingham, no, I moved from Hoover, which most people know where Hoover is. I moved from Hoover to Irondale, which Irondale is not a bad side of town. It was still in the same school system, still Jefferson County. But the thing is that again, predominantly white versus predominantly black. Um, it was just a culture change, which for me it wasn't no problem, you know, but I had to adjust, which
Yeah.
again I was used to adjusting because of moving throughout my childhood,
Yeah.
but it wasn't changed. The only thing that helped me was I was in band. And so most of my friends can't are from band. I do have friends that were from outside of band, but it is actually very few. Almost all my friends from high school that from my new school are and that's the school I actually moved there and I was in the ninth grade. So I built some friends. Really, it was like the end of ninth grade. So I'll say from 10th grade through 12th, the school I ended up graduating from,
Hmm.
is most of my friends are from band. And it was because, you know, band was it was like a family. You know, we were with these same people at the end of every day
Yeah.
at practice, you know, 2, 3 days a week. Every Friday we had to, you know, football games. So around these people more than any other people, really, you know, then because it's not only during school, you got after school, sometimes on weekends for competitions, you
Yeah.
know. So I was around the people in band more. So most of my friends were band, and that helped, you know, because one that's already a common thing, a thing we have in common was, you know, our music ability and stuff. And I was good at band, so that, you know, drew people to me as well. I come from
Yeah.
this other school, and I was already pretty good. So
Yeah, that's
and
what I was gonna ask too, because I think that I know when I transitioned schools, literally the same thing. It was a predominantly white school, Dallas County, and then I went to Selma High School, which was not just predominantly. I'm talking about 98% black. You know, and so like when I transitioned, I never forget. I had a band teacher. I wasn't in band, but I had like a band class. And when I was going over to Selma High, he was like, you know, that's gonna be a culture shock for you. Are you ready for that? And same thing like you, like I got black parents, you know, I had an older brother. So I mean, listen, I know how to navigate, you know.
right,
So when I got there, like it was night and day different though, just the school, because one school was so free, loose, it felt like a college campus
right.
compared to Selma High. You come through, metal detectors, I mean, pull your pants up, like it was, and not to mention I came from no dress code,
Mm,
the dress code. So now I got to
yeah,
wear the khakis, the collar shirt, the everything else. So it was like it was completely different. So, and kind of like yourself, I, you know, as far as like my diction and where I talk, you know how some, you know, they say bad associations spoil useful habits, because from an association standpoint, it was easier for me to blend in because I could always just, if I needed to, I could flip a switch
right,
and go into whatever conversation we're going into, you know. But I think what helped me too, kind of like yourself, but it wasn't band, it was playing ball. Because
right.
it was like, you know, you're okay, you're cool anyway, you're a cool dude anyway, and then plus you hoop, oh yeah, you good. So like what for you band, because I was gonna touch on that too. So what instrument did you play? And like how popular was the band? Like Selma High's band, man, it was like if you was in the band, you were popular, put it that way, you know. So like how was y'all band? Were y'all pretty good, or yeah, how was that? And what instrument did you play?
So I was a drummer,
Oh
percussionist.
yeah, even worse. Oh, that's even worse. Oh, that's even worse.
Yeah. So yeah, I was a percussionist, you know, and the band itself wasn't popular, but we were the most accomplished in the school. Like you look at the band's trophy case versus any other association in the school's trophy case, nobody compared. Uh,
Mm,
we won almost every competition we went to.
mm,
But like I said, the band itself wasn't popular, but
yeah.
the drum line was a different ball
Oh yeah.
game
Oh yeah.
because
Oh yeah.
what was interesting is that it's like the people that were on the drum line were not like your average band kids, right? You know, most of your band kids are like these artsy kids,
Yeah.
some of them kind of a little weird,
Hmm.
but like the people that I like marched with, like that was on the snare line with me, a couple of the quad players, they were like basketball players. Like it was like 2 or 3 of the guys that I marched snare with were on the basketball team.
Yeah.
Now, And I mean, they was like some solid dudes. Like was talking to some of the fine girls, and they was a year above me, and I was cool with all them. So
Mhm.
it's like that helped me because I was always, talking with them, chopping it up with them. So it's like we didn't play and two again. We were a predominantly black school, but you have in band you have what's called a show band and a competition band, right?
Mhm.
A show band is what's known as what you would see at a HBCU,
Yep.
right? They play popular songs, more focused on making an appearance versus like playing more articulate music or things of that nature.
Yeah.
Which not saying that HBCUs don't play articulate music, but they play more popular music
Mm.
and different style of marching as well. Most of them do high D marching, which I ain't gonna get too far into that. But we weren't a show band; we're a competition band.
Mm.
So we didn't play many songs that people knew, right? So I mean, it's like I'll give you an example. It's like on Drumline
Yeah.
where that other band came in and they was playing all them songs, and Dr. Lee was like, "Flight of the Bumblebee." That's the type of you know, and everybody was like, "Why are we playing Flight of the Bumblebee?" And they over there, they over there jamming. We playing Flight of the Bumblebee.
Yeah.
I had two white band directors, but
Yeah.
they were super cool. I love them. I mean, to this day, they two of the best people I know.
Yeah.
Especially my drum director. He was also one of the band directors. I mean, Mr. G was one of the coolest people, little Italian dude. One of the best people I've ever met. Had a huge impact in my life.
Yeah.
But again, because of that, that's why the band wasn't popular. But again, the drum line in itself were a cool bunch of individuals. A lot of the band didn't like us. One, you look at the rest of the band, almost all the drum line was black.
Yeah. Oh
The
yeah.
rest of the band was white for the most
Yeah.
part. You had a lot of the black folks sprinkled throughout each section, but the drum line
Yeah.
was all black.
Yeah.
All of us was black on the drum line.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it was definitely a difference in the drum line versus the rest of the band for sure.
Yeah. Well, they had to have some rhythm in there. Yeah.
Exactly,
You
exactly.
gotta have some rhythm, yeah, because that's I remember at Selma High, the band, same thing. It was like I mean, I can name off a couple of different names, but all those guys like and Gabby was really big into the band. Like I was one of those guys that when I first I'll never forget, I got asked to be in the band when I was in middle school. And of course, the first thing you want to do is you want to, for sure, like, let me play the drums.
Right.
In fact, I was in the sixth grade going to the seventh grade, and the band director came down he had conversations with basically everybody that, trying to recruit people to the band. And, I not accepted, but I wanted to talk to him because I'm like, man, yeah, I want to play the drums. Like, that's what I want to do. Yeah, teach me how to play the drums. And next thing you know, he like, you got what did he say? I don't know if it was trumpet lips or you got or some he pulled out or clarinet. I don't know what he pulled out, but he pulled it out, opened it up, and was like, "Yeah, this will be you." But I looked at that instrument, I said, "Man, he tripping." I was like, "No, bro, no." So, but it's crazy though because how I viewed the band because that was the majority of white schools, so the band was a little different too. How I
Right.
viewed the band then compared to when I went to Selma High, I still had that little bit of a mentality, but I'm looking at dudes, I'm like, oh, this dude cool, this dude cool. Like these like everybody that special, like you said, that was on the drum. I mean, they was get down,
Oh
bro.
yeah.
That's when I got a little jelly because I'm like, man, if I just would have got in there, but in middle school, then I would have been good right now. I'd have been
Right.
good.
Right.
So but yeah, the band, you don't realize it, like, and not to mention that's music is an art too anyway, like, so
Mhm.
if you can learn any type of instrument, just appreciate. So I know if I look back, I don't care if it was a clarinet or a trumpet, I would, if I could right now pull out a trumpet, clarinet, and just like do something to my, like just sing or something, little, play a little song for my wife, man, come on, man, I'm about to kill it. So,
And
so I
see,
would,
that's what's interesting is like, so my first instrument was not drums. I've been in the band since the sixth grade. I played from 6 to 12.
mm-hmm,
And my first instrument, and like you said, I came in, I was like, oh, I'm finna play the drums. That was the thing, because I grew up and my my family was heavy in the church, right? And so because of that, I always went to church, my dad and stuff. And of course, when I was little, I'm going in there afterwards. I'm sitting at the drum set. My dad was a keyboard player.
Yeah.
So my dad played the keyboard. He also used to play the set sometimes, but dad's a keyboard player. All my uncles, they played guitar, bass guitar. But so I wanted to play the set. Drums was always my passion from a
Yeah.
little boy.
Yep.
And so when I got to sixth grade, I was like, oh yeah, I'm coming in here. I'm going to play the drums. They had us sit down at each instrument and like do like a little test. And they rated us on each instrument. And the instrument I ended up playing was the oboe, right? Most people don't even know what an oboe is.
That's what I was looking like. Oh, oboe.
It looks like a clarinet, but it's a double reed instrument. Very difficult to play. One of the most difficult instruments you can play. I played it for 4 years. If I would have stayed with it, which I just didn't want to play it. That's really the only reason I stopped. I enjoyed playing it the time I did. I could have got a scholarship to any school playing it because there's such a small amount of people that know how to play it.
Yeah.
And I mean, I could have got a scholarship with percussion as well, but with oboe, it really heightened my chances because there's just few people that play the oboe. And I was so sure that I was gonna leave out playing drums, but the band director convinced me to play the oboe. And I think my mom was like, you sure that that's what you want to play? Because
Yeah.
it was like I scored the highest on the oboe, the tuba, and I want to say and percussion were my three highest. And there was already so many people trying to do percussion. They were like, man, we really need an oboe player.
Yeah.
There was me and one other guy named was Jonathan. And he convinced me to play the oboe. And like I said, I played it for 4 years, went to all type of honor bands, played in all types of different, stuff. I got invited to play overseas when I was in the ninth grade. Was supposed to go on like this tour over in Europe. I actually ended up not going because it was just too expensive. But at the time, my mom was a single mom. I knew we weren't gonna be able to do it. It would have been like, I think it would have cost like $5,000 or something. But I got invited to play with a bunch of different people from around the U.S. To go to. It was like, I think it was 10 or 16 different countries in Europe, and we were supposed to go on like this whole little tour thing in Europe and play over there, but ended up not doing it just because, like I said, it was just too expensive.
Yeah. I
At
actually
the
remember you
time.
telling me about this. I remember you telling me about
Yeah.
this. Yeah. Yeah.
And so I never did it. But again, that's just the type of opportunities that playing the oboe afforded me.
Yeah. Yeah.
But again, that percussion was always where my heart was. And so when I got the opportunity to switch, oh yeah, I was on it.
That was it. Oh, that was it. That was it. So,
Yeah.
well, yeah. So, okay. So that's cool. So, but I'm gonna switch gears. I'm gonna fast forward just a little bit. So of course, you made it through high school, the band, you found the truth, and then at some point, you met a family member of mine. And so tell me, like, how you and Kiara met, and like, when did you know, like, how did y'all meet, and then when did you know, like, this the one, this the one?
Okay, so this gonna be real controversial here now. All right. So I'm gonna be true, this is exactly how it went down. So we used to have the skate parties
Yes,
uh,
Trustville.
up here in
Yeah.
Trussville,
Yep.
and me and a friend of mine we were at, of course, the skate party, and we were sitting down. I don't skate, but I used to go there because I like to dance.
Oh yeah.
And
Yeah.
so I go there to dance and of course to try to meet a sister.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that was like my whole purpose of going. I
Yeah.
wasn't gonna ever skate. I think I may have skated like twice out of the 15 skate parties I went to.
Yeah.
And so went there, and I remember me, my friend Logan, we were sitting there, and he we looked over and he said, "Man, why?" He said, "You see them two girls over there?" Now he said, "Was skating earlier." He said, "But they just sitting over there, man." He was like, "Let's go talk to them." I
Mm-hmm.
was like, "Okay, cool." And so we got up and we went over there and talked to them. It was Kiera and Jayla, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we talked to them. We was like, "What's up? You know, where y'all from and stuff?" They like, Jayla said she was from Prattville. Kiera said she was from Selma. I had seen them before because I think I seen them on Instagram.
Mm-hmm.
I think I was following both of them. I knew
Okay.
Jayla a little bit more because I'd been following her a little bit longer.
Yeah.
And so I was like, just we just chopping it up for a little bit. We asked them if they was gonna dance. And they was like, "Yeah, of course we're gonna dance. We love to dance and all that stuff." And I asked them, this was around the time when the song by Bobby Schmurder dropped. And
Oh
so
yeah.
I asked them if they knew how to do the shmoney dance, and they was like,
Yeah. Yeah.
"Shmoney
Yeah.
dance." And so I showed them how to do the shmoney dance and
Yeah.
stuff like that.
Yeah.
And so they was laughing, they was cracking up and stuff. So then we went out there and we was dancing beside them the whole time. And so afterwards, we got done and we asked them both for their numbers.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So now my friend Logan, he was a couple years younger than me. He's
Mm-hmm.
probably maybe 3 or 4 years younger than me.
Oh, okay.
Right. And so we like I say, it was just real cool. And so we was out there, we got their phone numbers or whatever
Yeah.
afterwards. And we was like, okay, well, we'll text y'all, next time we, y'all up here or whatever for the skate party, we kick it or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And so initially I was like, man, I'm feeling this Jayla girl.
Mm-hmm.
He was like, yeah, I think I'm feeling this Kiera girl.
Yeah.
And he was like, yeah, yeah, yeah. So like I'm gonna try to talk to her, you try to talk to her. That was how it was gonna be.
Yeah.
So we was just chatting back and forth with both of them. We'd talk to them, call them. Back then, Kick was the big thing. We'd be on Kick and
Oh yeah.
Skype
I
and
forgot
stuff
about that.
like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
so we'd be on Skype and all that stuff. And then somehow I don't remember how me and Kiera got on the subject one time. We was talking about age. And then I realized she didn't realize that I was 18 at the time. I just graduated high school.
Yeah.
And she didn't realize I was 18. And she was like, "Oh, I thought you was around Jayla age." And I was like, "Wait, how old is Jayla?" And she was like, "Oh, she like 15, 16, something like that." And I was like, "What?"
Oh
I said,
yeah.
"Oh
Yeah.
no." I said, "No." I said, "I can't talk to her. She's young." So I was
Yeah.
like, "Okay, well, I see where I got to direct my focus now. I need to
Right.
direct it towards Kiera."
Yeah.
And so, um, I remember it was another girl I was talking to at the time when me and Kiera were just friends. But me and Kiera were talking so often, I was starting to kind of feel her a little bit.
Yeah.
And I was like, kind of torn because it was another girl I'd been talking to for a minute, but I wasn't really feeling her like that for real. Me and Kiera kind of vibe way more. So I was like, well, I don't know who I need to talk to more or who I need to focus on talking to. And I remember me and a couple friends, we went to um, a basketball game. We went to see Atlanta. They were playing against Toronto.
Mm-hmm.
Went up to Atlanta. And this was back when Kyle Lowry was still there. So this
Oh yeah.
was some time
Okay.
ago.
Yeah.
You know,
D
um,
Rose too.
yeah, DeRozan was still there too. He had
Okay.
a crazy dunk that night too.
Yeah. Yeah.
Uh, but anyways, we was there and we was on the way back. We were talking. I asked him. I said, "Which girl y'all think I should focus more on?" And they were like, "Yeah, yeah, I think you should talk to Kiera." And I was like, "Okay." So I remember there was a conversation me and Kiera had, and it was funny because I could tell she was starting to develop feelings for me, and I was starting to develop feelings for her
Mm-hmm.
because we was talking almost every day. And she told me, she was like, I think we need to stop talking as much because I don't want feelings to start to develop and one person have feelings and the other person not and whatever. So I was like, okay, cool. So I stopped calling her every day, texting her good morning and all that stuff. I was
Yeah.
like, and then I get, it's like something clicked in her mind was like, I don't really like this. We had a good thing going.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
we eventually went back to talking every day and stuff like that. And so she had texted me one day. Me and Logan were riding in the car. Same guy I met her with.
Hmm.
We were riding in the car and she had texted me. She asked me, what song would you use to describe us?
Mm.
And I can't remember the song that I chose.
That's a deep question too.
Right, right. And I can't remember the song I chose, but I remember the song she chose. It's the song Like Me Real Hard by Mario. I don't
Mm.
know if you ever heard this.
Oh, wait,
That
wait,
song.
that's a jam. That's a
Exactly.
jam. Hey, yes,
And
yes.
so when I listened, me and Logan, I was like, And so me and Logan played the song and we was listening real closely to the words. I was like, oh yeah. I was like, oh yeah, she wants you, boy. So and I remember I said, okay, I think she really want us to try to make it official. So I asked her, I said, well then let's make it official. Let's just go ahead and make it official.
Yeah.
Just do the whole boyfriend girlfriend thing. And I remember this was on like a Tuesday, maybe a Monday or something like that. Monday, Tuesday or something. And she was like, okay, we can. I had now by this time I had been to her assembly, visited her assembly. I done met Buddy and
Yes. Okay, yeah,
Courtney and all them,
yeah.
And so I asked her, I said, well, when can we make it official? She said, the next time we see each other, right? Before this, I had only ever seen her at assemblies and skate parties.
Big party. Yeah.
So she was like, the next time we see each other. So I was like, well, what you got going on Friday? And she was like, nothing. So I was like, okay, well then we could try to do it then. So she was like, okay, well let me ask my parents if it's all right if you come down. And
Yeah.
so she asked them, and they was like, yeah, it's cool if he come down. She said she was surprised by that.
Yeah.
And so of course I drove down to Selma, whatever, made it official, whatnot. And so about a year later, um, I like I said, we was already vibing from the moment we met. We were vibing. We were like it's like we were cool. We were friends right off the bat, and we still like that. We still real close, like we're friends.
Yeah.
Um, and like I said, over the course of a year of us dating, I could just tell that I didn't really have any type of anything else that I wanted out of a relationship from any other type of a woman. So I was like, I feel like this is the one.
Obviously.
There ain't nothing else that I want. To me, she's beautiful.
Mhm.
She has everything that I am looking for. She can cook. She's clean. She's a clean woman. She loves Jehovah. We had worked out a service together plenty of times.
Mhm.
There was it was just everything was she was marking all the boxes.
Vodka. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
was like, I feel like we should just go ahead and try to, get married. And so
Mhm.
that was really how it all went
Yeah.
from start to
And,
finish.
and that's so funny, the song thing, the Mario. So like, I mean, she got a playbook out of from Gabby on that one. So let me tell you, I got to tell the story. I guess at some point I'll tell it again, but um, that's the same way how me and Gab kind of clicked. So we were same way cool. We had a big friend group that we were all kind of
Right.
associated with, and so we were just friends in a friend group. So I knew her, she knew me. Went to the same school. So one day after school, she was like, hey, this is one of my favorite songs. Listen to this song. And it was JoJo, Happy Song. So anybody
Mm.
know that song, y'all research it. Research Like Me Real Hard too. That's a jam. Mario Like Me Real Hard. I feel like it's on that the same album that got You Should Let Me Love You. I think it's on that same
I
album.
believe it is, yeah.
Yeah, because I had that album. That's a jam. So free plug, Mario. But anyway, then JoJo was it was the happy song. And so I'm listening to it, and like you, I was listening to the words, and it was one part in the second verse that caught my attention because it was really about being friends. The song was about you're my friend and you make me happy. But
Right.
there was one part in the song that kind of said, maybe one day, instead of friends, we'll become something deeper. And I'm like, hold on, wait a minute, hold on. I literally told her, I said, what that said? Hey, rewind that real quick. I was like, because I was trying to make sure that's what I thought. And I didn't say nothing. I didn't even, I heard it again and I just let it go. I just took it as okay, all right, okay. Like you said, like, okay, I think she digging, So
Yeah.
that's funny you said that. I guess that's a woman thing, man. So like,
Yeah.
I can't tell you what I'm really feeling, but let me tell you this song real quick, man.
Right.
That's dope, man. That's dope. So um, and I think that, and of course, I know, grew up with Kiera, so I know her, the family, and I know that I feel like she's one of those people that, she's hard to get to know. Like there's an exterior there a wall that she puts up. Like, was that hard for you? Because don't sound like it was that, like, you sound like you guys just dropped even if you had a wall, like it sounded like you guys dropped it pretty quick. Like, was it natural or how was that?
Yeah, I mean, it seemed to come pretty natural. And I don't know, a lot of people tell me that's just kind of how it is. I don't know, with me, I guess a lot of people feel comfortable talking to me. I don't know. I don't know if I think because I don't have a problem with sharing stuff about me with people.
Mhm.
I'm very open about myself. And so like from the beginning, I don't have a problem with sharing anything about myself. So I feel like from the beginning, she may have sensed that. And so she was always very open with me,
Mhm.
about her life, upbringing, anything. And so I know she always said that it was not many people she felt like that with. Uh,
Right. Yeah.
So I feel like because of that, it was like it drew us closer together, even as friends. Like I said, there were things that we talked about as friends that she said she never even talked about with people she may have dated or talked to in the past. And
Mhm.
so I think because we had a close friendship, that it was easy for us to transition into a relationship because that barrier or that like outer part of knowing each other, we had already like kind of surpassed that at that point.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it really wasn't too bad. Over the years, we've had to kind of still break down some barriers. And that's just the case with anybody.
Yes.
You be with people long enough,
Yep.
you begin to learn more and more things about them.
Yep.
Things that, they may have had locked behind some, different wall mental barriers that,
Yep.
they may not have even realized. And,
Yep.
but for the most part, I don't even think that it was really too difficult, honestly.
Mhm. Yeah. Oh yeah, so make sure I say this to the people that are listening and watching, to all the, single brothers and sisters out there. What he said was so important. Friendship. Be friends first. Friends first. Friends first. That's like that foundation. Like if you got to have a strong foundation. You got to have a strong. If it's built on sand, guess what? It washes away. We know the scripture. If it's built on rock, then it lasts. And that friendship is like, if you have that, man, that helps, because even when imperfections can't happen and stuff like that, like when you can go back and say that's my best friend, like we gonna talk about it. So it helps for sure. Helps for sure. So let's move forward. Let's move forward. Let's get into sports, man. We talked about your upbringing, talked about the misses. So you are a huge, from what I've seen in social media and stuff like that, OKC, Kevin Durant.
Yes, sir.
So
Yes, sir.
and Russell too, Brody too, Brody
Yep.
too. So when were they one of the first teams that you drew to, or who was the first team? Like when did you kind of draw towards gravitate towards basketball? Was it the Thunder in general, or in general? What was it?
So growing up, I wasn't a huge basketball fan. I was more of a football fan. I mean, I guess growing up in a football town.
Yes.
You know, football is what we gravitated towards. Wasn't much basketball being talked about at that time, especially in Tuscaloosa. You know, I mean, Alabama in general is not a basketball state. We don't have a professional team or anything like that.
Yep.
So
We need one, by the way.
exactly. But for the most part, you know, it was football my whole life. I loved growing up, loving the NFL, loving college sports. But once I started to really watch basketball, the first team I actually liked was the Celtics. That was a big team that I liked, and it was when Shaq was there. Because
Uh,
I've always been a Shaquille O'Neal fan since I
yeah,
was little. Now that was one player I always liked was Shaq,
yeah,
and when I saw him on the Celtics, I was like, "Oh, Shaq on the Celtics now?" You know. Then that was like when they started to have their little run when Paul Pierce and all them got there and KG and all that. I was like, "Okay, this." That's when I started to watch it. You know, when you start to really get into something, you looking at who the best team is.
oh, for sure.
So, you know, this around '08, '07, you know, around that time,
Mm,
uh, you know, I'm really starting to get into watching basketball.
mhm, mm,
So that was my first team. So again, this you talking '07, '06, '07, '08. This is when, you know, Durant and all them about to get drafted.
yep,
So when they get drafted, I'm hearing about this guy, Kevin Durant. So I watched. I didn't watch many of his games, but I saw like some of his highlights from when he was in college, and I was like, man, he different, you know.
yeah, it was different
And
for sure.
so, of course, he got drafted by Supersonics, uh,
Mhm,
which I knew a little bit about him, not much about the Supersonics, but I had started playing 2K around the same time too. I've been playing 2K since 2K11.
mhm,
So as I started to watch OKC when they became OKC after his first year, I was like, man, I really like this Kevin Durant guy. And after the first year too, they drafted Russ. I was like, man, I like how these young guys is playing, man. They playing fast paced,
yep,
aggressive, you
tough.
know, they doing everything. I was like, man, I like this team. And so really, I just started watching them. That was like all I was watching. I was watching every OKC game. I mean, that's really all I was watching. I play 2K. I'm only playing with the Thunder. You know, I started liking the Bulls too, because, you know, around 2011, 2012, that's when
Yeah,
D Rose started to come up, you know. Then I really like got really into basketball. So I really only, you know, can honestly say that I've been like head deep into basketball, like really into basketball since about 2010s, really, you
mm,
know. Um, so yeah, OKC has been my favorite team since Durant got drafted, and he's been my favorite player ever since. But growing up, Shaq was my favorite player
yeah,
uh, when I
yeah.
was young.
It's always that one guy. I remember the first time. Um, the first thing I remember about like seeing basketball was actually it's crazy. Was Jordan's last year with the Bulls because I remember my stepdad and my cousin was arguing about the Jazz versus the Bulls. Now, I at that moment when they were arguing, I didn't know who the Jazz and the Bulls were as a kid. I didn't know what they were arguing about, but of course, my cousin was a Bull. He was like 15, 16 years old, so of course, he loves Michael Jordan. And my dad, my stepdad, of course, older, like that, the way that the Jazz played, just pure basketball, pick and roll, pick and pop, John Stockton, Karl Malone, just fundamentally great basketball.
Right.
And so he loved that. And I just remember them arguing about it. So that's what drove me to want to watch, like, okay, what are they arguing about? And I just remember watching, and I didn't know who was who, but I just knew this bald headed guy. Oh, something different about him. Like I just literally remember gravitating towards him and just like, wait a minute, that's the dude from Space Jam too. So
Right.
then it was just like next thing you know, of course he retired after that. Then after that, like that my next thing that I fell in love with, because I didn't watch it like full time. I would watch just the final because my whole family would watch it. And the next thing I remember, was Shaquille O'Neal and Kobe. Fro Kobe.
Yeah.
Fro Kobe, bald headed Shaq. I was a big Shaq fan. I that's literally the reason why I disliked Kobe for so long was because of what he did to Shaq. Like in the media talking and You know, next thing you know, Shaq then went down to Miami. I did not like Kobe for that reason. And so Shaq was my dude. And then from there, you know, Tracy McGrady, you know, of course you got to find your guard. So anyway, long story short, you know, it always starts with somewhere that somebody you see. In your case, it was Shaq. And so Kevin Durant, though. So of course, Kevin Durant, you're probably one of your favorite players of all time. So what do you feel about KD's legacy? Like, you know, we saw him grow in OKC, and he decides to go to Golden State. Let's start there. How did you feel? Were you on his side? Did you like the move? Like, how did you feel when he went to Golden State?
I hated it, man. I mean, I was heartbroken, man, because you know, even though I am, you know, he's my favorite player, and I am the type that I'm like, okay, I'm gonna be a fan of him wherever he go. I'm gonna support that team. But at the same time, when you cheer for a team for so long
Yeah,
because your favorite players there, you become attached to that team, which is why I'm still an OKC fan to this day. You know, see, at first I was just a Kevin Durant fan,
yeah,
but years after cheering for OKC, I became an OKC fan, you know. And man, it was like I was so torn if I was going to support KD after he left and go to state because one, we were so close to beating them and go in
up 3-1,
OKC.
up three
I'm
one.
like, when we're up 3-1. I'm like, when we got it, I'm like, we lose. Okay, we lose. All right, you know.
Yeah,
But I'm like, we can go back, and it probably wouldn't have been so bad for me. Like I wouldn't have looked at it so bad if he would have went anywhere else.
yeah,
I mean, anywhere else but the team that just beat us.
yeah.
You know, that's what like kind of left the sour taste in my mouth. Like,
I think that was what did it for everybody. Yeah.
yeah,
Mhm.
that's what. Yeah, it hurt, man. I mean, it hurt bad
Yeah.
for that to happen. You know, so that really that really hurt. I ain't gonna lie.
Yeah.
You
So he goes to Golden State. Most people feel the same way you feel, like what you doing. Cupcake even came out, you know, and, and literally, you know, but hey, he does exactly what he intends to do. They win a couple championships, you know, of course, then he get injured, you know, Brooklyn days. Now he's with the Suns. So he's kind of bounced around, jumped around. Things haven't been quite the same actually since he's left Golden State, really. Um, do you feel like does he win another one? Will he win another one before his career is over with? And do you feel like with his legacy, because at this point, I personally feel like, you know, Steph has won two without him. He has not won anything without Steph in Golden State. So what if he doesn't win? What does that do for his legacy? And do you think he will win another one anyway?
I feel like it's definitely possible for him to win another one. It's just going. I don't know if it'll be with the Suns. They are a weirdly constructed team. As
Okay.
right now, they don't have much of a bench. They, like you said, very top heavy, very offensive minded team. You know, a
Mhm.
bunch of scorers. They traded away a lot of their role players in pursuit of big names. Um, like I said, it's possible that they can win anything. It's always possible for somebody, but I don't know if he'll win it in Phoenix. I would like to see him win a couple more, and I think he could with the right team or with the right
Next year,
constructed team. Uh,
would would you be mad if he ever went back to Golden State?
no, I wouldn't. Um, I would prefer him go back to OKC.
Oh,
That's always been my
hey,
wish is he go back to OKC.
hey,
If
he
he
could.
went back to Golden State, it would be like somebody need to slap him upside his head because you should have never left in the first place. You know what I'm saying? So
That's how I feel about it. I
yeah,
don't. Once you're there, I feel like the media, you know, watching narrative. I feel like the media. That's why I create the show because of watching, you know, because of the narratives that these guys create in the media. Because I felt like they pitted. They didn't like the Golden State Warriors, so they pitted all these things on, on that team. Of course, Draymond had his blow up, and then I think even Kevin Durant talked about it. That was definitely played a strong part of him deciding like, you know what, I'm gonna part ways.
Yeah.
But I feel like winning solves all. Even if he gets injured in 2019, you got COVID in 2020. 2021, because Golden State won without him. So imagine 2021, they're all healthy again. They probably run off 2 or 3 more.
Oh
And
yeah,
by
for
this
sure.
time, now Kevin Durant has 4 to 5 titles. Who cares about how you got there? You're a legend now. You up there with one of the GOATs. And so I felt like he should have just stayed there. Don't worry about the media. Don't worry about the noise. Because yes, I didn't like the move either. Because how he went there. But once you get there, you win, and just block the noise out and just keep winning. Just keep
Yeah.
winning.
I think he allowed, like you said, the media to have such a say so in his emotions
Yeah.
and the outlook that he had. When obviously, when you look at it, honestly, the fans, Golden State fans, loved Kevin Durant there.
Oh, they did. Yeah.
And that was the thing. The media created such a controversy within the team, like especially between him and Draymond.
Yep.
And I feel like a lot of that could have been mitigated if he would have just blocked it out and not even paid attention to any of that and just went out there and balled.
Too.
They could have, like you said, they could have ran it up, man. I mean, they still would have been dominant,
Yeah.
and it would have
Yeah.
helped so much too with Clay coming back from his injury and not being the same.
Yep. And
Then
now
they
you got,
could have
oh yeah.
still been a dynasty,
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, for sure.
So
Sure.
yeah, but I think it does in the end because he's had so many unproductive years. If he doesn't win another one, I do feel like it does hurt his legacy. Even though he won them 2 chips, it's just I mean it's definitely not it's not going to look good if he don't win anymore.
Yeah, he needs another one.
He's just going to be a great player. He's going to be a well-known player. I mean, there's no doubt in his ability to play basketball. He's going to be an all-time great, but he's not going to be one of those top 10
Yeah.
all-time players.
That's the difference. I think that's the difference. But I love what you said about OKC, especially I didn't even think about like him going back to OKC, kind of like a LeBron, going back home type deal.
Exactly.
Because it will be perfect timing now because that team is about one Kevin Durant away.
And I'm telling you,
tough.
man, they are balling, man. They're balling.
Yeah. So let's transition. Let's go to 2K.
All right.
So for the people who don't know, we have been a part of a 2K league probably for the last maybe couple of years now. I think it's kind of, pandemic happened. Everybody's at home. I think we all kind of started playing 2K a little more often. And then we kind of happened to link up on the PS system and we met a bunch of brothers, and the league has been great in a sense of meeting all these different brothers. We even had some brothers fly down here to do a stake off, a couple years ago. So it's been great to meet some brothers. Of course, you have your ups and downs with personalities, but at the same time, I feel like for the most part, it's been a pretty good thing for all of us to meet each other. So with that being said, we created the league, and now of course, you're talking about yourself. You are, 2-time champ. Have you won DPOY?
I believe so.
Okay.
I can't never remember. At first, I would never get voted for them, but yeah, I believe I got a DPOY.
Yeah, and so I always say, and I said this in the intro, you'll see it when you watch it back. I called you the standard. I've always said that. I feel like you are literally the standard big man. Like if you want to know like how to play big, watch Petty. So like, how long you been playing 2K since 2K11?
Yeah.
But how long have you been playing big, and like how did you, because honestly, I mean, from the defense, the post moves, variety of post moves, like step backs, all of it. So like how did you perfect that as a big?
So my first big I ever made was on 2K15, but it was more just defensive rebounding. Didn't really do much scoring. But on 2K17, I played guard for most of my 2K career. Like most of my like all I always made guards.
Mm-hmm.
Like 2K11 all the way through 2K16, I always made guards. And then on 17, I started off with a guard as a shot creator, but I made him kind of wrong. And so I was like, man, I need a new build.
Yep.
And I had a friend that was a slasher. And he was like, man, we need a big. I was like, man, I ain't never played no big. And he was like, man, just make you one. So I went and I said, well, I don't see no athletic finishes, which is basically a big slasher. So I
Yep.
said, okay, well, I make a 6'10" power forward. And I
Yep.
made this power forward and he was dominant, And that was like ever since then, I was like, oh, I like playing big.
Yeah.
Then when 2K18 came out, I remember how dominant pure post scores were on 17.
Yep.
So on 2K18 was when they first introduced dual archetypes.
Yep.
And I said, my first build was a small forward. He's a playmaking slasher.
Mm-hmm.
And I had a lot of fun on that build because it was like kind of what I was used to. But I said, no, I said, I'm going to make me a big. And I made a pure post scorer. I said, forget the dual archetypes. I'm going to go back to how we used to do on 17. I made a pure post scorer. And the reason I got so good at post moves is because on 2K7 or 18, it wasn't like how the badge system is now. If you wanted to get a badge, you had to do the specific move over and over.
Yep.
And so it's one of the reasons I don't play my career anymore, because I had to go into my career. In order to get drop step Hall of Fame, I had to do drop steps every game until I got enough points, like just continuously grinding until I got drop step Hall of Fame.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm playing on Hall of Fame difficulty, having to learn how to finesse Hall of Fame defenders into getting drop step animations.
Yep.
Then I had to do the same with post spin. I had to do the same with up and under. I had to do the same with all these different post badges in order to get them to the highest level. And then I realized, like at the highest level, then I went out into the park and I went out to Pro-Am and to Rec. And I was like, oh, these badges are overpowered. I'm like, people can't stop me from doing these. And I knew most people were only doing drop steps. But again, I was in my career, I'm grinding all these badges. So I know how to do drop steps from different angles. I know how to do post spins from both left and right. I know how to switch ball hands. I know how to do up and unders. I know how to do dream shakes because I've been in my career, I was averaging 80 something points a game only in the post. I ain't shooting no threes. I'm only in the post all game. It's just straight drop steps, post spins, hooks, and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
So it was different. That was where I developed my whole post game from, was 2K18. It was just really because of repetition, just doing it so many times. And so over the years, I just kept making bigs. And sadly, the post game and what it used to be, as far as the game, they've changed a lot of the mechanics up. 2K22 was probably one of the best years for post animations and post moves. They just don't work as good as they used to. That's just really what it is. They will, but they penalize you so much for the attributes that go along with it. As far as if you got a good post attributes, you can have good post control, but like the stuff to finish the move, like close shot or standing dunk, you don't have the defensive stuff that you used to have along with it. If I make a pure post scorer like I used to be basically a two-way post scorer. Well, now it's just either you're a pure post scorer and your defense ain't gonna really be what it need to be. So now I don't really make post scores anymore because I'm gonna be lacking on defense. So that's why you don't see me really make post scores as much anymore. But I do miss it because most people don't know how to guard a lot of the fakes and drop steps and post spins and stuff. But
So speaking of that, so if someone was to go to the class of pay, as a big man center. What makes a GOAT center? What would you tell that person? Like, what do you need to do? What do you need to? How do you need to make this build?
My thing is in today's 2K, the biggest thing is people do not know how to play with an inside big. So you got to have some type of shooting. And I hate to say it, but that's just what 2K has come to. You used to could do it without shooting, but if unless you really have like years of experience with actually knowing how to play 2K and playing with people who know how to play with the inside big,
Yes. Yeah.
I would say make a big with some type of shooting. And it don't have to be high, 79, 80 big is the best thing.
Yeah.
But the biggest thing in this 2K is making sure that you have some type of rebounding and block and not going too high on these things. A lot of people have really kind of started to realize now that some of these badges are not as useful as they once were as far as between the tiers.
Yeah.
Like silver versus gold. Things like silver anchor is just as good as gold this year. It doesn't make as much of a difference.
Yeah.
But you can go gold. I mean, but the thing is, you get penalized so much. As far as scoring, I've noticed that standing dunk doesn't have to be very high. Close shot does not have to be very high.
Yeah. Sure does.
And your post control doesn't have to be very high in order to get certain animations. But I would recommend probably going at least trying to get, if you want to play in the post, like one of my builds, what I call my balance center is, I think he has like I don't even think I've put his close shot up yet, and I still get stuff in the paint, but he has like a 80 driving dunk, maybe a 75 post control, I think maybe an 83 or 84 standing dunk. Then I went a little higher on the shooting, went 86 mid, I think at 83 point. Then I went a little balanced with the defense. I got a 88 interior defense, like an 87 block, 93 defensive rebound, went like an 80 something with the vert. And it all depends on what type of 2K you're gonna be playing. If you're just trying to play rec and stuff like that, you're gonna need to play with some more speed. Now, a lot of people they look at some of the builds, they say, "Oh, that build ain't got no speed." But if you're playing pro-am, like especially league play, you don't need as much speed as you think. The reason I say that is because people play passing lanes so well now. We don't throw the ball up the court like we used to.
Yeah.
So many people are afraid of the ball getting stolen. We'll walk the ball up the court before we try to sling the ball real quick. So a lot of times you have time to get into position before you think you need to.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, a lot of people are so afraid that the ball gonna get stolen, and so that costs a lot of points for bigs. A lot of people are making these undersized bigs now, which is a huge thing. To me, 7'1" is the sweet spot. 7'1" is the sweet spot. And biggest thing to me, too, like I said, is being able to set screens and either pop or roll, and knowing that's the big thing. Knowing when to pop and when to roll.
Yeah.
It's the huge thing.
So question here. So like, as I mentioned to you, and I tell you this all the time, I feel like you're the standard, but there are other bigs. Like you ran into other, pretty good, pretty solid bigs. I remember Kevin Durant talked about this one time. He was talking about LeBron. although you got, your Kawhis, you got your step, like he felt like LeBron was the one person that can look me in my eyes because of how great I am. Like he's the only person that looked me in my eyes. Who do you feel as a big man in our league, our chat, everything, all this other stuff? Who do you feel like that guy can look me in my eyes and match up with me good?
Um, on this 2K or overall?
I would say overall, just in general, just like because I think that if you're good, you can transition. If you're a good big man, especially big man, you can transition from, I don't care, 21, 22, 20. Yeah, the systems will be different, but you can always play a decent big.
The people that have given me the most trouble and who I feel like we either just equaled out or either they just beat me. Kyle is probably one of the best. Um, B Ross is very underrated, mostly because he plays very true as far as he's not the type to leave you open.
No,
He's not the type to miss open shots either.
nope,
So you have to play him very honest.
yep.
Um, there is no helping off like you can with some centers, and they might smoke the shot.
Mhm.
Um, so he's somebody like that. Um, I would say Chris sometimes, and the reason I say sometimes is because he has very predictable moves. Um, I taught Chris how to drop step, so it ain't. I know his post moves do not get me.
Mhm.
Um, what gets me with him is he shoots very well for center.
Yep.
So he gets me with a lot of shooting. Sometimes I will leave him open thinking he won't hit, and he ends up hitting.
Mhm.
Um, and so he's very, very good offensively. Um, Defensively, he doesn't play true. So that's what hurts him.
Mhm.
Uh, Same reason with like B Ross, it hurts him because he plays so true. You can be guaranteed that he ain't gonna help off or something. So
Right. So the other
it's
rest of
it's
the
the
team
whole
get off.
exactly. So it's give and take. But Chris definitely, um, Cody when he used to play big was a force to be reckoned with.
Yeah.
Uh,
Greg talked. Oh, not Greg. Who was Terrence was telling me that? Yeah. I never
yeah,
saw Cody play big that much, but he said it was a
he was tough. He knew how to play very well. You especially back when you used to play big. I don't know why you stopped. I mean that's your position. Uh,
yeah.
we had our of course on in our championship run. We
Yeah.
had our back and
Yeah.
forth.
Yeah.
Um,
So
so
speaking, because I was gonna go to TGM. So but as far as like some of the names you mentioned, so Kyle definitely is. I agree. Kyle was he's all every 2K.
yeah,
He's been, whether it's a 6'10" or a 7'3" monster, like he's been always there. So I agree. But TGM, so me and you, we both were the centers actually for the first finals.
right.
And you guys took the win, took the, inaugural championship home. But that still hurts to this day. But that team was, I was telling Greg this, that team was really good.
Yeah,
TGM.
it was.
That was a really good team. How good was TGM and what happened? Like what happened?
So TGM, man, that was a dominant team, man. I mean, I enjoyed playing with that team. The problem with this team is we were for the most part, honestly, we were good. Like as far as getting like personalities meshing together.
Yeah.
Of course, we had Chris and Greg on the same team.
Yeah.
Those are two personalities that's gonna clash no matter
Every
what.
time. Yeah. Yeah.
Um, the problem was that it's like their personalities they clashed, but Vince was always like a mediator for the most part. Like, so the thing was, we had so many calm people on the team.
Yeah.
You had me, Vince, and Twiz,
Yeah.
right? Who we are like three like non-confrontational, like, well, I ain't gonna say it. Sometimes I can be confrontational,
Yeah.
but Vince and Twiz especially,
Just
they not gonna they don't get into it with nobody at
Yeah.
all. You
Yeah.
know, no matter what. So having them two on the team, only people you had arguing was gonna be Chris and Greg.
Yeah. Yeah.
And if Greg get out of hand, Vince gonna say something. That was the thing. And because Greg has a tremendous amount of respect for Vince, he trust me, he not gonna say nothing out of line to Vince. That ain't gonna happen. Like, even in a joking way, he ain't finna say nothing crazy to Vince. That's just not gonna happen, because he has a level of respect of Vince. You know, just being somebody who's always been kind of like a big brother to us, and you know, he an elder. You know, you're not finna talk too crazy to somebody like that. You know what I'm saying? So then, two, you had the second season. We were still dominating the second season.
Y'all were.
And let me tell you what, this was the downfall, and we called it too. Chris and Greg at it again.
Yeah.
And what happened was Chris ended up making a guard, right?
Mm-hmm.
Greg had a big. And they were going back and forth, talking, you know, like they always do. But Chris, I don't know, I can't remember who initiated it, but it was either Chris or Greg, you know, claimed that, I want to say it was Chris, claimed that he could do what Greg was doing at the guard position.
And I believe that. Yeah, I believe that. Yeah.
And so Greg was like, okay, then I'm gonna run big and you run guard. And if you go back and look at the series when we played against CLB or whatever the team, it was Daenerys' team.
Yeah, Bel Air.
Yeah, because we were calling them bootleg.
Yeah.
So we go against Bel Air, and I'm like, bro, Greg, just get on guard, bro. Like, you've been playing guard for us all season. Like, why switch builds? And Greg, like, you know how he trying to prove a point. No, Chris want to run guard, so we're gonna let him run guard.
Yeah.
Sure enough, it don't work. And we ended up losing. And the thing was, it's like I said, we have been dominating this second season too. Like, because we all were striking, we all were hitting on all cylinders. I mean, it was like, why are we switching up in the playoffs? Yeah. And the thing was, is Chris and Greg both underestimated Bel Air. And I'm like, bro, we can't play this team just because they haven't been that good. We can't play them weak because we can lose.
Yep.
And see, they didn't think we was gonna lose. They thought they could get on whatever build and play around, and that we was gonna win.
Yep.
And sure enough, they did that whole build switch. And I think at that time you weren't allowed to switch builds during the series, so we were locked into the build.
You was stuck.
And so we was like, bruh. Well, we was mad. Like, me, Twiz, and Vince, we was like, bruh, we told y'all, man, to get on your regular builds. Yep. And now we about to lose because we haven't played with this composition. We don't even know how this is going to work. Greg was one of our primary scorers, and of course the facilitator.
Yeah, playmaker. Yep.
And so this ain't going to work. And sure enough, we was like, well, this the downfall of TGM, because, you know, we had the whole thing of, we was trying to be like the Bulls, you know, this is going to be the last day. Because we was like, you know, we was able to keep our whole team together because that was the incentive for winning.
Yeah.
And so we was like, oh, man, you know, the whole league against us, man, they don't want to let us keep our team together no more. And we was like, well, it don't matter now. You know, we done lost. So it can't say nobody against us now. We done lost.
Yeah.
And, man, it was upsetting, man. I mean, because like I said, me, Vince, and Twiz, man, we was like, bruh, we supposed to be in the finals right now, man.
Yeah, yeah.
We supposed to be in the finals. There's no reason we were supposed to lose to Bel Air, bro.
Yeah, and we wanted y'all in the finals too. So because me and Robbie ran it back. We had Kyle. So
Right.
like we ran it back with with me and Rob, and then got Kyle, and then of course we ended up winning. But we wanted y'all bad. So when Bel Air beat y'all, it actually was, even though a piece of me was like, that's what y'all get, because I was mad from the us, y'all beating us the year before, season before. So, but it was just like, dog, man, I wanted to run that back against y'all so we could just say, okay, we y'all got us one, we got you one,
Right.
So, but we never able to do that. So, but after that, you got into another franchise, South Beach.
Yeah.
So, like, which was another dominant team. So, let me ask you this. So Petty's playing center for TGM. Petty's playing center for South Beach. Both the championship teams. Who wins?
We folks talk about this all the time. Who wins between South Beach and TGM, and I don't know, man. It's a hard one to say. If I go against the championship South Beach team, man, that was
And who name that lineup? Run that lineup off.
it was Josh,
Ooh, tough.
myself, Oss,
Tough.
Tyler Coleman,
Shooter.
and was our fourth person? I mean, our fifth person. We had because
Was,
that was we had
was it Neil?
alternates. Yeah, Neil and
Neil.
Neil,
Yeah.
and so we also had Trey McDonald too.
That's right. It was a 6-man roster.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I mean, bro, that team was deadly. I mean, I think South Beach wins, and the reason I say that team was constructed like it was ran flawlessly. I had a build that could shoot. My center could shoot. I think he had like a 75 3 ball, but I was hitting consistently.
Yeah.
My build on TGM, I only had one build. That build could not shoot.
Yeah. It's post build. Yeah.
But he was dominant inside. He was straight inside. He was 6'10. Dude had like crazy vert rebound and all that block. I think he had like a 99 block or something. I mean, I was like, no, I had 99 strength because I was like one of the only people that could stop Kyle.
Yeah. That's
I had
7.
a 99 something.
Yeah.
I know because Kyle used to get these animations because he was 7'3 and I was 6'10.
Yeah.
Because I would stop him a lot of times, but it would let him. It was that little badge called Mouse in the House or whatever.
Yeah.
It was
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And so when I made this build, though, I was like, after that build was 7 foot or 7'1",
7'1", I think.
and I said, after then, I was like, oh, I ain't worried about Kyle no more. That ain't gonna happen like it was. Like it was. That was one of the reasons I made that build.
Yeah. So you feel like South Beach gets the edge in a 5-game series? What you go to full 5?
I think it probably would go to 4 or 5 because TGM was good at adjusting mid game, and we had I don't know, man. South Beach. Let me tell you, I don't even know if most people realize this. We during the season, we didn't lose a game that last season. We had one loss, but it was because we had to forfeit a game to JP or Twizzy, whoever was the captain.
Mm-hmm.
Forfeit a game because that was the only way that Oz was able to keep enough points so he could keep me and Josh.
Okay.
But we didn't lose. We didn't actually lose a physical game that season. But during that season, we ran 2 troll lineups that most people don't even know.
I remember this.
We ran a lineup with all guards.
Yeah.
And we ran a lineup with all bigs.
Yep.
And we won both of those games by like 20.
Super troll. So y'all ran all bigs. I hate you even brought that up. Y'all ran all bigs against us, and we came out like, what? That ain't finna disrespect. We were like, they is not finna disrespect us like this, bro. I said, run them out the gym, bro. And we got stumped.
Yeah, I don't know, man. That team was just, I mean, that was just a Crazy team, man.
The difference, bro, like you yourself, Josh, and Austin, like IQ off the charts.
Yeah.
IQ is such a huge thing. And then you got guys that can buy into a system. Because I played with Josh season 1, and Josh just, great fit in. He plays real life ball, so he knows the game. Austin just smart character. You don't really make too many mistakes as far as like defensively. You protected the paint. I think that probably was your DPOY year.
Yeah, I think it
Protect
was.
the paint. Couldn't stop. Like you said, Kyle. Nobody could score on the inside. So it was just like that team. And then you get Tyler, who was like offensive player. That was his breakout season, I think, where
Yeah,
he
man, I think he was shooting like 70% from the field, from the three.
letting
And
it
then he was
go.
averaging like 25 points a game.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So he was like offensive player of the year. That probably I would agree with you that team there had a slight edge just because of the IQ part of it. So let's shift gears here. We're gonna have a few. I'm gonna play a few games here, and then I'm gonna let you go. So number one, this won't be a game. This is more of a question.
All right.
Everybody feel like, hey, I'm one of them ones. I'm one of them guys. I'm this. I'm that. Who do you feel like within our league chat is the most overrated player, and who do you feel like is the most underrated or undervalued player?
Most overrated.
And why?
Let me think. I don't know. That's a hard. I'm trying to think. Overrated. This year or overall?
I mean, just you can make it which way you want to make it. I would say don't go back into, like you can either this year or you can just say overall, one of the two.
I would say this year.
Okay.
Overrated, I would probably say myself.
Nope.
Yes, man. For some reason, people keep trying.
I'm taking it.
That's a cop out. That's no.
That's a cop out.
Let me explain. So for some reason, people keep trying this year to put me in like this overall, like top, like what is it, first round draft pick type caliber player. And that's just not the truth. I believe there are players that are like I don't put myself in like the first round no more. Like this year. Now, if you're talking about overall, then okay, I will put myself there. But this year, I don't see. I feel like people would take me first overall or first round off of my name, right? And like maybe my IQ. But as far as a player, I don't know, man. Like, and I give you an example. Like, they were trying to like find replacements for teams in the league, right? And like my name kept getting skipped over because they were saying I was too good of a player. I'm like, have y'all seen me play this year? Like, that is not the case. Like, I can personally say that I feel like y'all are overrating me this year because y'all looking at how I've played in the past. Yeah. And that's the only reason I say that I feel like this year that I'm just getting too much of a pass, man. Like, for real.
Yeah. I actually I would agree with you in this respect because I was in front office when we were coming up with these points. And me and James were very consistent in the sense of like the people that we were rating was like these guys aren't as like, this is a new year. So Lion was one of them that we felt like, no, this dude is better than what you. I definitely was like, bro, he's way better than what y'all talking about, what y'all thinking.
Right.
And then in your case, I was like, Petty ain't what he once was. He don't even really play the game like that.
Exactly.
So it's like he hasn't perfected what he normally does. So we need to kind of like really base it off of this season, because next thing you know, you're going to put a point value on a player like Tyler. Tyler has 7 points, which I disagree with that, because yes, he's a great shooter, but that's that's what he does. He shoots and
Right.
dunks. So, but you need a 7-point player is like a franchise Alston, Yodi, like that's the type of player you want that can do a little bit of everything, including score and shoot the ball. So, but anyway, that's neither here nor there. Overall, I can't let you walk away with this answer. I can't let you walk away. Then I'm gonna have other people come on. Hey, it's me. It's me. No, no, no. Give me somebody most overrated overall.
Okay, let me think. All
You
right.
ain't even got to give me a reason why. Just say a name. We'll move on.
Let me think. And this is gonna sound weird because of what I said earlier. And if he watches this, he's a great player.
Go ahead and put the disclosure out there.
No, I can't say that. Because no, he was dumb. But I would say this is a different player than what I was just about to say.
Okay.
I would say though most overrated. Um, hmm. Maybe. That's a hard one. If I would have to go with one person, it'd probably be Robbie.
Mm. Mm. I can see that. I can see that. I can see overrated. All respect. Just still good. Still a good player.
Yeah, very good player.
Yeah.
But
So
definitely
underrated. Who is undervalued? Who do you feel like is an underrated, undervalued player?
Huh. Undervalued. We'll probably have to say hmm. That's a hard one. Underrated.
Does not get enough love for what he does in the game of 2K. Underrated. Everybody say he's a 4th rounder, but he really should be about 2nd rounder.
If we're going this year overall.
It would just say overall. Just
okay, overall, I'm gonna have to say Bryant.
Hmm.
I'm gonna say Bryant. Bryant is pretty underrated. I mean, he actually makes builds that are catered to his play style.
Yeah.
And whatever that build is designed to do,
Yep.
that he's on, he's usually going to do what it's supposed to do.
Yep.
And he's become more coachable as time has went on. First, he would just do bonehead stuff, but he has become a lot more coachable. You say, Brian, you need to just sit in the corner, for this, he doesn't miss a lot of open shots.
Exactly.
He has builds that can create their own shots. I would say he's pretty underrated,
I can agree.
If we say, I'm gonna go back to overrated.
Okay.
Overrated, I may have to put no, I can't do that.
Hey, the people, everybody's like, what are you gonna say? What are you gonna say?
Because I don't think he's rated that high, like amongst people. But no.
Yeah. So he's properly rated then, obviously.
Yeah, but I don't think not very high. The person I was thinking about. if I go back to no, I just can't say that in.
Can't say it in 4K.
I don't know if I a person that I for a long time, and I still kind of feel like this,
Okay.
right, is a bit overrated. Again, this is a hot take.
Okay, it's a hot dude. But it's I mean, the way you loaded it up, it's about to be a hot one.
It's Kyle.
Kyle who?
And that's just why I say it's a hot take. And I'm gonna tell you why I say this, right?
Okay.
Kyle makes builds that are dedicated to like one thing. And so they make him look good at doing like he's like this super dominant player.
Mm-hmm.
And it's because they're good at that one thing. But and the reason I say that is because when I played against him on that 7-3 build, people was like, "Oh, man, Petty, he can't, he whooping Petty. You know, he the only person that Petty can't hold nothing against." But I'm like, bruh, he's on a 7-3 build. I'm on a 6-10 build. Like they're literally badges that's helping this joke.
Yeah. Yeah.
But then when I made that 7-1 build, it's like
I'm with you.
we didn't everything, all that is gone.
Yeah.
He made this little guard build that was made for shooting and passing.
Mm-hmm.
That's what he did. You know, he wasn't really playing that good of defense because that's not what that build was made for.
Mm-hmm.
But that's again why I say it's a bit of a hot take because I respect Kyle's gameplay because one, he won a championship on two completely different positions.
Yeah. Yeah.
To me, he has a very good IQ for the game, and I think it's just because when he just makes a ton of builds for one.
Mm-hmm.
But most people would take him first round, but I would personally.
Okay.
That's
Yeah.
just me. I wouldn't take him first. Like if I was trying to get a big first round, personally, I'm taking B Ross over Kyle.
Mm.
That's just me. Just because I like how B Ross plays.
This year, that's hard. That's hard to argue. I can't really
Right.
argue that much this year. Yeah, for
That's
sure.
that's just me.
Yeah. Yeah.
Also, another undervalued person I believe is Phil. Phil is
Phil.
definitely
Finals MVP. I think I think he's now. People are smelling the coffee now. They know. They know. Yeah.
Phil is definitely underrated.
He went fourth round. Like he was third to last pick. When I picked him, third to last pick and won Finals MVP. So yeah, they better recognize now. So let's go to the next thing. So one of the things you kind of talked about was being able to play different positions. So who do you feel is the most versatile player, participant in our league that can play 1 through 5 on different builds and also is, I guess somewhat dominant on whatever build he jumps on? Who's the most versatile, you think? And I can use the word dominant, but they're a problem on every build.
I would say Terrence, no doubt.
Mm.
Terrence is the only person I know that is going. He can get on a point guard and do what he need to do, and can get on a power forward that's playing at the center position and still, it's like he's still the same caliber player. It's like his standard of playing doesn't drop because he's on a big.
Mm-hmm.
But I would say, yeah, Terrence.
Okay. In the words of Terrence, you better book it, buddy. He probably got the most sayings too.
Oh yeah,
our table. So all right. So we got two more things. Two more like this one's gonna be fun. So what I'm going to do is you're gonna excluding yourself. You can't use yourself. We are going to create a Voltron of a player. So we're gonna take different pieces from different players, and you're gonna combine it into this one player that's gonna be just super Saiyan, Super Saiyan 4 or 5, whatever.
Okay.
We're gonna have the categories is gonna be handles, scoring, playmaking, finishing, defense.
Okay.
So number one, who you getting your handles from?
You talking about NBA or?
No, from 2K. 2K.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, from our 2K league, who you getting your handles from?
Currently or overall?
Overall, well, how did we do this on the last one? I guess I would say overall, because I think if you're really good at the sticks, you're gonna have handles on whichever one you play.
Okay. Overall, John Satterfield.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, they ain't the first time I heard that one. Was that? Yeah, boy. Woo-wee. He was tough. He was tough. So scoring, who gonna score the ball? Three level score.
Scoring. I would say Greg.
Great. Very versatile score. Very tough to guard. I don't like giving him his love, but I've had to guard him in many, even in the finals. I wasn't guarding him per se, but we had to come up with different schemes. And I don't care if it's, bunny hopping into the lane, hitting you with a pump fake, he's versatile for sure. I can give you that one. Playmaking. Who's setting the table up? Who's setting the table?
Austin.
Austin. Okay. I agree with that too. Finishing, dunking on people, also acrobating, laying up, everything, finishing at the rim. Who you got?
Like the prime choice is just Robbie. I mean, he's just most well-known slash. But really, a lot of people don't remember. But on 2K22, Tyler Davis had a
Yeah,
slasher
yeah,
that was insane.
yeah.
Um,
Mhm. Who you taking? Who finishing you taking?
Overall, I'd probably go with Robbie. Robbie has increased his bag too. Yeah.
Yeah. So all right. So Robbie with the finishing, and last but most importantly, defense. Who defense you taking?
Defense, I'm gonna go with
Who's got the clampers? Who's getting the steals? Who's blocking the shots?
I'm gonna go Terrence.
Terrence with the clampers. With the
Yeah.
clampers. So
Just because I've seen this Joker get double-digit steals
steals,
multiple times.
easy. So handles, Satterfield, scoring, Greg, playmaking, Austin, finishing, Robbie, defense, Terrence. I think that's a tough bill. Last thing, now this is gonna be you're gonna create your best lineup. Now this time you're gonna include yourself, and you're gonna surround you're gonna make a team surrounding yourself, and you're gonna put yourself in a position, whatever position you want to be, 1 through 5, and then you're gonna surround yourself with a team, and that's gonna be your let's say this is to save the world. Death beam pointing at the earth. Who are you choosing? So what position are you first? What position are you playing?
Center.
All right, so you playing center. All right, so lay the rest of the lineup out there. Save the world now. Make sure you remember that.
Okay, I'm gonna go me as center. I'm gonna go Austin small forward.
Oh, okay.
Then I'm gonna go Terrence at power forward.
Wimby.
Let's see. Then I'm gonna go. Go Yoda at shooting guard.
Tough. Bucket. One of the most coveted positions now, though.
It is.
Yeah, who's running the show?
Then I'm going Ajante at point.
Ooh, I was gonna say, I was wondering what you guys like. He gonna say Sad or he gonna say Ajante? He already put Austin at the 3, so hey. So number 1, Bullock, Ajante showing love at the 1. Number 2, Yote. I love that pick. The 3, Austin, crazy. 4, Terrence, Petty 5, and they're gonna save the world with that one, ladies and gentlemen. They're gonna save the world with that one. Hey man, Petty, listen, bro. I appreciate you coming out, man, showing love, taking some time away, from your busy schedule to, come out, show some love. Make sure I reiterate to the people who don't know, Petty's Purist. Let's, make sure that whenever that drops, be on the lookout for it. It will be on Etsy. You can find Jay Petty on, of course, Facebook, different platforms where he will be, he'll let you know when it's ready. He'll let you know when it's ready. If you want to get that shine, that glow like Petty, then hey man, try that Petty's Purist, and then of course, as far as like watching the podcast, like I said before, podcast has been going for 3 seasons now. So I appreciate everybody who does show love and listen. And Truth by Rome, this is a more intimate setting. We hope you appreciate it. And this story has been Truth by Petty. Truth told by Petty. So this has been the truth. Nothing but the truth by Petty. We appreciate y'all listening, man. We out.